Games have scripts. I understand that I may have just blown your mind, but stick with me for a little bit because I have a lot more to share, okay? Think about your favorite game, or even your favorite app, your favorite website, your favorite device, I don't know. All of them are scripted in one way or another. What are scripts? Like, how does a script work? Like, yeah, you can go in here and type like, print hello world, and then if I run the game, it prints hello world. But how does it do that? How does the computer know that, like, hey, if this certain string of letters is, written, then you need to do this specific action? How does the computer know that? Well, I'll be honest, I don't know exactly, and I'm not too sure why I'm talking about this. Because the point of this video isn't even about scripting itself, it's about the script items that allow you to do so. Now, I could be proven wrong on this, maybe, I don't know, but in practically every single game engine, there is some sort of item, or I don't know, like a thing, just something that is meant to be responsible for scripting the game. Like, I know Unity has like an actual item that's like a script, right? And so does Roblox Studio. And Roblox Studio is pretty special in the fact that it has several scripts. It has the regular server script that most of you are probably familiar with. It has the lesser known but still incredibly useful local script. And then it has the module script. If you are a developer in any way, you probably recognize what this script might do and what this script might do. Even if you've never touched Roblox Studio, even if you've never touched a game engine in general, you could probably understand what local scripts might be used for. But I can bet that a lot of you can look at a module script and actually not fully understand what it does. Like, okay, obviously if you're a Roblox, developer, you'll know what it is, duh. But for a lot of people, you show them a module script, and even if they are game developers, if they don't use Roblox Studio extensively, they won't have an answer to what this item is supposed to be. And this is because I'll make the argument that this module script item has no reason to exist. The reason I say this is because both the server script and the local script have a clear purpose. The server script can do things that the other scripts cannot. It has its own unique function and use that you just can't get anywhere else. And the same thing with a local script. The local script has its own use and functionality that you cannot find in either a module script or a regular script. And it's because of this that a module script, even though it might be useful and efficient to some, is left feeling incomplete, and it gives off the impression that it just lacks certain features that could make it unique. Now, I say the word unique, right? What's unique about the server script? I mean, let's think about this. Well, the server script is responsible for basically scripting how the game runs. Like, I know you can do like print hello world or whatever, but what I could do is I could say workspace.baseplate destroy. And then if I run the game, it's gonna destroy the baseplate. No other script can do that, okay? If I type in workspace.baseplate.destroy on, let's say, a local script, it wouldn't actually destroy the baseplate because a server script makes changes on the server, okay? Even when there's no players, it doesn't need players, right? Because it just makes the changes to the game itself. Whether you want to change the color of something, or you want to remove something, or add something, or I don't know, change some number value or whatever, you can do all of that inside of a server script and nowhere else. So that gives it a clear and defined purpose, right? In fact, you can't make a good game without using one of these. That's how important a script is. I mean, look, I have a video where I make a game without code, and I kind of do it well enough. You can go check that out later. But like, the game still ends up being kind of mediocre, right? And it would be so much better with just one script. Now, I say all of that, but then what about something like a local script? You might notice that this thing is grayed out, and that's because a local script needs to be inside of a player to run. And so we can just put it inside of starter player scripts. What a local script does is it might mimic the functionality of a regular server script, but a local script only affects something for the player. So for example, I can do workspace, baseplate, destroy, just like we did before. But if I were to run the game, the baseplate would still be here. And this is because, like I said, a local script needs a player to run, okay? So if I play the game, let's say, right? And actually, funnily enough, it just gave me an error. But honestly, this just ties back into my point of what I was going to say, is that a local script is all about changing the player's perspective. The reason it just gave me that error, the reason it said like, oh yeah, baseplate is not a member of workspace, even though it very obviously is. So why is it giving me this error? Well, it's because when the player was loading into the game, they didn't load the baseplate yet. So from the player's perspective, because the baseplate hasn't actually loaded in yet, it doesn't exist. So this is where you would use something like wait for child, like so. And if I do it like this, then it's gonna work fine. But the thing here is that right now we are on the client. If I switch to the server, the baseplate still exists. So it only doesn't exist for me, in my perspective. Every other player who, doesn't have this script would still see the baseplate and would still be able to interact with it. Except for me, because I think that the baseplate doesn't exist, it just allows me to fall through it. This is the power of a local script, right? While a server script changes just everything about the game and, every single player gets that change, a local script only changes things for one specific player. Like, for example, if you have like some inventory and the player presses E, and then, the inventory pops up, that's done via a local code, right? You don't want the player to press E and then make like a server thing where every single player gets their inventory open, because that'd be annoying, right? There are certain things that just need to happen to one player, and that's where a local script excels. In fact, it doesn't excel. Like, nobody else can do this, right? A server script cannot do this. Only a local script is able to make changes client-side only. And with that being said, what is a module script? If I click on this module script, this is what we get. Local module, which is equal to a table, and then it returns this module. So, okay, you probably know what a table is. A table is a thing that can contain multiple values, like 1, 2, 3, hello, true, doesn't matter. It's just a table full of values. And what a module script effectively does is it allows you to add things inside of this table. So I can say module dot item is equal to, I don't know, hello, okay? And what that's gonna do is it's gonna add a thing inside of this table called hello, called item, that is equal to hello. But the thing here is that a module script doesn't actually run by itself. If I print something, if I print the module table, for example, and I try running the game, it doesn't actually print anything. So module script cannot run on its own. What you have to do is you have to get another script, whether a server script or a local script, and you have to say require, and you have to get access to the module script by saying require, and then you get the module script. So in this case, it's under our script, so we need to say script.module script. And then this basically returns whatever table is inside of the module script. And in this way, if I run the game right now, as you can see, now it actually prints the table, right? Because the module script was required, which means that it now has to run itself. And yeah, so whenever I print the module table, it's item and it's equal to hello, right? Just as we did here. But that's all it is. A module script is just a table. Now, obviously, it's not just used for dumb things like this, right? The main usage of a module script is to actually make functions, right? So I can make a function that, I don't know, instance.new arts in the workspace, whatever. And then what I can do is I can say dots, I can call the function and I can just do it like this. And so if I run the game right now, it's going to summon a part somewhere in the workspace, which is in the very middle of the spawn location. So we can't see it, but it still exists. Now, you can probably kind of understand like why module scripts are helpful, right? I mean, it's just a global table that can be accessed by basically any script, right? And this is pretty useful because like you could have, all of these functions or all of these variables, scattered throughout scripts, or you could just have them all in one pile, right? So this one module script now has this function which, can now be accessed in any single script. So it's pretty convenient, it saves on lines, and, it's just helpful to have in general. But they're not required. A module script doesn't actually have a like a unique use case that can't just be done anywhere. Like, for example, right? Do you know what I could do? Like this is what I'm doing here, right? I could just take this code, like so, and then I could just copy it here. I just need to remove this line because it doesn't make sense. But like, this is doing the same exact thing. Sure, it's more convenient to do this inside of the module script, but like, unlike with this script or the local script, there's no unique like purpose to the module script. And like I said, all of this is proven right here. Now, you might say like, okay, look, I get your points, but they're still convenient, right? I mean, you know, being able to store a bunch of functions inside of just one script and, you know, not have to like, you know, like clone them over to your other scripts must be pretty convenient, right? Especially when like, let's say if I want to change something about the function, I can just do it here instead of having to go to all of my other scripts and like, you know, changing it there. And that is true, right? However, this is where we get introduced to underscore G. And do you know what underscore G is? Let me print it right now. Underscore G. Underscore G is a global table. So just like a module script is a global table, so is slash G. I can say slash G dot item is equal to function whatever, right? And then if I print underscore G again, well then what's gonna happen now is like, wow, we have a table, that's a function. Isn't that fun? That's the thing, right? So slash G is just a global table, which by the way, can be accessed in any script, okay? So if I say slash G item is equal to 1, 2, 3 inside of this script, and then I make another script in the workspace, do you know what I could do? I could say print slash G dot item, okay? You know what's gonna happen? 1, 2, 3. There we go. Because we're setting it here and we're printing it here. Slash G is literally a global table, just like a module script. However, in this case, you don't have to require the module script. You don't need a module script when you can just do it inside of here. Now, obviously, there are some issues regarding underscore G. Like, for example, there's only one of them. It's only one table. But like with a module script, technically, you can have a bunch of modules, which are then meant for a bunch of tables. Which basically means you have like more tables, I guess. But in a real game, you don't actually like need much module scripts, if any. You could just have everything in one underscore G. And so, as you can see, like the fact that a module script isn't unique and has a literal feature that basically is competing with it, that's I would argue is actually more convenient to use initially. Sure, a module script has, you know, better functionality sometimes, but when you combine all of this together and you look at all of the other scripts, like, you know, the server and the local, they don't have competition. A regular script doesn't have competition. A local script doesn't have competition because there's no other item or thing or anything that can do what they can do. Besides maybe the terminal, I guess, but that doesn't really count. But a module script has none of that. It's not unique. Sure, it has a use case, but that use case, like I said, is overtaken by underscore G. And all in all, while module scripts are still convenient and do have a use, they don't have a unique purpose. And this is why I argue that a module script is not a perfect script, and that it could be, or sorry, needs to be changed by Roblox. Because I like the idea. I love the idea of a module script because it's just like a storage container, right? That's a really good thing to have. And obviously, like I said, it's still convenient. It's still very valuable and very helpful. So I'm not saying that it's a bad item, obviously, but it could be better. I think it could be improved. So even right now, I feel like a very interesting idea for a module script would be like, what if inside of one module script, you could make multiple like tables, right? Because again, right now, if I make a module script, it just has this module and then it returns the module. But what if you could have multiple tables? Like, I know you can have a table inside of a table. Like, yeah, sure, that, you know, kind of makes sense, I guess. But again, the whole idea here is that we're trying to make it convenient. We don't want to just keep adding tables and tables and tables. We don't want to do that. So what if a module script allowed you to basically create your own version of an underscore G? Like, I don't know, think about this, right? Maybe you could have underscore G and then maybe it could be like another underscore and then like the name of like your custom table. Like, that would be helpful, right? Instead of forcing people to require the module script and do all of this and all of that, blah, 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 you could turn it into a global table. This would make it, again, not only insanely convenient to use, but also would give module scripts a functionality that no other script has. Again, this is just a quick idea from the top of my head. I'm sure there's a lot more ideas. You know, if you have any, you know, obviously leave them in the comments, give me a bunch of paragraphs. I'd love to read them all. But you can see how even this idea, which I've thought of in like 10 seconds, could drastically improve the idea of a module script. And so with that being said, obviously module scripts are still insanely helpful. I'm not saying that they're bad. You still should use them in your games, you know, because they're still convenient and helpful to use. Like, obviously, that's why they're still inside of Studio, right? And it's exactly because of this that I want the module script to be better. I see the vision, I see how helpful they are already, and I just want them to have that tiny little edge over like a regular script or a local script. Because like I said, I don't think it's that hard to make a module script unique and give it more functionality. And you can probably already see how doing that will just make them 100 times more helpful than they already are. And yeah, I'll quickly plug that I have a course. You can find the link in the description and the pinned comment. So go do check that out if you absolutely adore my teaching style, because it's obviously the best one ever, right? And yeah, as always, we're back to basics. Thank you for watching.